Hello, teacher. The arrival of Trump to the presidency of the United States and the crisis of the special relationship. The victory of Donald Trump in the elections of November 2016 poses a clear break with the pattern established in the bilateral relationships of recent decades. The speech of the candidate Trump and the President Trump calls into question the logic of the special relationships with Mexico. In this speech, Mexico is no longer the commercial or strategic ally with which it is necessary to cooperate, but a source of the threats to the United States. This is a scenario that was not presented since the conflicts with Washington in the 20s and 30s of the last century, in which they even speculated about a possible US invasion of Mexico. From this point of view, the Mexican government faces a scenario for which there is no immediate prior experience. Not only has the possibility of massive deportations of undocumented Mexicans been increased, but the touchdown of the commercial relationships with the United States, country that concerns about two-thirds of our trade NAFTA, will be revalued and can be cancelled. That panorama has set off alarm bells in the Mexican government as its impact on the domestic economy can be devastating. But it also revived the discourse of diversification. Those go for ideological reasons, viewed with distrust that rapprochement with the United States. Open lie began that suggests the advisability of reorienting our commercial and even political alliance. In this sense, it insists on approaching other economic powers, particularly Asian ones such as China, Japan, Korea, or even India. However, although the signals of the current US administration will suggest the convenience of seeking other allies, in the short term, such an option presents many difficulties. Changing trade flows in not something that states can decide on their own. Finally, this is a process in which consumers, producers, and distributors of products participate. Additionally, commercial alliances already exist in other regions of the world in which Mexico does not participate, which is not easy to modify. On the other hand, some of the potential partners are actually competitors of Mexico because they produce similar products, which is why Mexico will be competing in established markets. A ruder blow in Mexican foreign policy. All of the above does not mean that Mexico should not seek to expand its spectrum of commercial and economic alliances in the medium term. However, this is a task that could take several years. In other words, reversing the integration process that has taken place in North America in the last 3 decades is not something that can be done overnight, and it probably is not the most efficient option either. That is, in short term, the Mexican government will have to deal with Donald Trump in the best way possible and certainly rethink its foreign policy in the long term. Now, if the redefinition of the bilateral relations that Trump seeks become permanent, Mexico will have to rebuild half of its foreign policy and seek other economic and political alliances. However, it is very likely that Trump attempts to modify the relationships with Mexico face many internal and external obstacles and end up having little effect. In any case, it is clear that challenges facing Mexican foreign policy with the arrival of Trump to the presidency of the United States has no immediate precedent. The Mexican Foreign Ministry is not accustomed to dealing with the aggressive policies of a government that has been its ally for decades. The government of Peña Nieto will therefore have to find a way to cushion the negative impact of the policies of the US government in the short term and make a fair assessment of the direction of foreign policy in the long term. In this process, there will be many temptations of alliance that in the long run may be unfeasible. Finding new business associations and coincidences with other regions of the world is undoubtedly an intelligent option that, nevertheless, should be analyzed with caution. Finally, Trump will be in the presidency of the United States for 4 years, and in the worst case 8, but a change in the direction that Mexican foreign policy has taken during the last 8 decades can last much longer, and its effects can affect several generations.